What is going on, Headliner Nation? Welcome to the first ever, the first annual, whatever you want to call it, the Fantasy Headliners hashtag award show for the 2018 fantasy football season. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of award shows, out there here in the past few weeks talking about last season. None of them are going to be as entertaining as what you're about to watch right here, because these are not just the boring fantasy MVP. Come on, who cares? That stuff is like so 2015. This is now 2019. We're going to have some fun with fantasy football, and as you can see, we dressed for the occasion. Kyle, the more professional, the more reserved, the more adult figure of this group, actually took it upon himself to put the real thing on. Kyle is dressed to the nines right now. I, on the other hand, like to party. Therefore, tuxedo t-shirt it is. Kyle, how we doing?
I'm doing well, and I don't know about you, but I like my awards host to wear tuxedo t-shirts because it says I'm classy, but I'm here to party.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what else could you ask for? I mean, I may have champagne around here somewhere. We don't even know.
Pop that bottle after we announce these winners of these prestigious awards tonight.
These people, they have no idea the recognition they're about to get by getting an award from us. Because this is like the ultimate compliment. I may actually tag all these. No, I'm not going to tag them on Twitter. No, I'm not, because we're going to have some fun.
No, don't do that.
I'm not going to. I'll end up on a list somewhere, and that's not going to happen. But we're going to get into it. We're not going to waste a whole lot of time. We have a few awards here we do want to give out. And the first one I'm going to go ahead and start with. Why? Once again, tuxedo t-shirt. Here we go. First one we're going to be giving away is the hashtag finger picking good. This is going to the top waiver wire ad of the season. What I like to refer to it as is allergy season. You're out there mowing the yard, and you got all that junk up in there, and you just got to get it out, and sometimes you got to take care of business. That's what this is about. This is the guy you picked off the waiver wire, and he helped your team all season long. Now, before I have you on the edge of your seats, I need to get to the envelope, Kyle, because we need to announce some winners.
Yes, we do.
So, the first ever winner of the hashtag Finger Picking Good award goes to Philip Lindsay, Denver Broncos. And in my opinion, Kyle, there's nobody more deserving of this award. Somebody who was picked off the waiver wire more than likely week 2, because a lot of people didn't have him there week 1, and then was almost a weekly starter from there on out. Great season for Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a guy that you got early in the season, like you said, week 1 or week 2, and you wrote him as a running back 1, running back 2, depending on your scoring format throughout the entire season. So if you grabbed him early, more than likely you held on to him. And for the amount of injuries, inconsistencies, backfields that did not play out the way that we wanted to this year, Philip Lindsay was just an excellent grab for a lot of fantasy owners. So he is absolutely deserving of this award.
100%. And we like to keep it even around here. So, Kyle, I'm going to let you go ahead and go with the next one.
Well, for the next one, okay, we are going to be announcing the hashtag Blue Light Special Award. When you go into Kmart, or at least when you used to go into Kmart when it was an actual store, and you would go all the way to the back, because in the back they would have those bins with the blue lights on them. And that was the clearance area. And you would go back there and you'd find this one thing, and you'd pick it out and you'd be like, oh, I have to have this. And it'd be the greatest thing in the world. You'd get it for like half off. You'd take it home, whatever it may be. It was just the best purchase ever. And that's what this award is, because this is the best value on draft day. This was the best late round pick that turned out to offer just supreme value all season long. And I tell you what, this tight end deserved it.
Oh, look, Kyle dropping breadcrumbs. He doesn't even have the envelopes. I have all the envelopes, and he's over there acting like he knows whose name's in here. Come on, Kyle. We went through a very deep process of secure voting here. We don't need any more voter fraud problems floating around the internet. All right, here we go. For the first ever winner of the hashtag Blue Light Special Award goes to Eric Ebron, tight end, Indianapolis Colts. Very deserving. Eric Ebron, like you mentioned, on draft day, I think I was one of the guys making fun of him. He's definitely somebody I missed on early in the season. Why? It's because it's Eric Ebron. And his days in Detroit, which you know firsthand as a Lions fan, he didn't ever turn into what a lot of people expected from Eric Ebron. He went there. He had competition with Jack Doyle all season, or not all season because Jack Doyle couldn't stay healthy, but he had competition, there in the preseason, and it didn't really seem to matter. Eric Ebron went on an absolute tear and decided to score touchdowns in bunches.
Yes. And it seemed like every single game he came out, he was finding the end zone multiple times. I still remember the big 3 touchdown game that he had in the middle of the season that fantasy owners were so desperate for. I saw a lot of that on Twitter that he really helped a lot of fantasy owners that week with that performance. And he was he was a guy that you probably took at the very end of your draft, maybe right before your kickers in your defense. And you ended up drafting the tight end 4 this year. So I don't think that there's really too many, if not any other players that really are more deserving of this award than Eric Ebron.
Yeah, congratulations, Eric Ebron. I mean, he's just come out of nowhere. I mean, he was a joke for so many years. Now, he'll be one of the top tight ends picks here in 2019, hands down.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe. I don't want to spoil too much, but he may be in some future videos.
Yes.
Maybe. Keep your ears peeled. Ears, eyes, whatever you want to do. Whether you read it or watch it, you'll find it. All right, I'm going to go into the next one. And this one I really like because I had a little bit of a part of this one. We're going to call this one the hashtag I'm Not Worthy award. Now, this is going to go to the player who came into the season with really high hopes. I mean, you thought this guy was going to be one of the anchors to your team, one of the studs on your roster, and he turned out to be a complete waste of space. I don't know if this is going to be a surprise to many. I have already peeked inside the envelope, so I have cheated. Sorry. I know who this is, but so you guys know at home, the winner of the first ever hashtag I'm Not Worthy award, Le'Veon Bell. I guess the Pittsburgh Steelers, we can say still, because technically he's still a Steeler for now. But did it matter all season long? Because he wasn't much of a Steeler this season. I mean, we didn't see him at all, and more than likely, you spent a first-round pick on this guy, and he turned into a complete waste of roster space.
Yeah, it's not many times that you spend a first-round pick on a player in fantasy leagues that is healthy all season and never shows up to any of the team facilities. I mean, even when injured players are hurt, they typically will show up there and do some sort of rehab. But Le'Veon Bell, gone all season long. Now, this isn't going to be a debate about whether or not that was okay, but I mean, you spent a first round pick, and more than likely, if you didn't end up handcuffing James Conner at the end of the draft, this probably really hurt you. So he is absolutely not worthy of his draft spot.
100%. All right, Kyle, hit him with the next one.
Let's go on to the next one. Okay. And I really, when I brought this award up, Jake really liked it. So I'm pretty excited to announce this award. But for this award, we are going to do the hashtag Fantasy Blister Award because this player was just like a blister. He did not show up until the work was already done this season. This special player left us hanging all year long, left us crying, weeping, whatever it may be. And then when all the heavy lifting had been done, he showed up and helped clean up the mess. Jake, who is our winner of the hashtag Fantasy Blister Award?
Here we go, Kyle. I'm excited for this one. The winner of the first ever hashtag Fantasy Blister Award goes to Derrick Henry, running back, Tennessee Titans. Congratulations, Derrick Henry. You did absolutely nothing for 11 weeks, and then you decided to play football again, and you played great football. I think we kind of expected a little bit of this, coming into the season. We thought that if Derrick Henry could go out there and get 20 touches a game and the goal line work, he could be a serious, competitor there in the running back division, and it just didn't happen. I mean, he was dropped in a lot of leagues, and then people went scrambling to pick him up second half of the season because the guy went absolutely crazy.
Yeah, after his breakout game in the playoffs last year against the Kansas City Chiefs, everyone ran to grab this guy. DeMarco Murray was gone. He was supposed to be the lead back. This was a guy that people were buying and selling at a high running back one value. Well, all of a sudden, the Titans decide to spend some money, sign Dion Lewis. That kind of hurts it a little bit. But I was one at the beginning of the season and said, look, they're not spending money on Dion Lewis to not play him. So at least this is a split. So I was not on Derrick Henry this year, but I will tell you, I am on the Derrick Henry train for next year. I think that at this point, they have realized that we're not going to win a whole lot of games if Marcus Mariota has to throw the ball 35, 40, 45 times, whatever it may be. We're going to control the ball on the ground. It's going to be with Derrick Henry, and Deion Lewis is going to be phased out and be more of a third down back, pass catching back. So I do like Derrick Henry, even though this award doesn't really highlight, isn't really a great highlight. I expect next year that he might be in contention for some more prestigious hashtag awards.
It's entirely possible. And like you said, I liked it when I heard it because it totally fit. He didn't show up until the work was over for most fantasy football teams. Totally fits the first ever fantasy blister. All right, so now we're going to get into the next one. This one's going to be the hashtag show me the money. And this is going to be going to the person who probably improved their draft stock for 2019 the most with their 2018 performance. Somebody who may have came out of nowhere. It was somebody maybe been talked about, but wasn't really the guy yet. Now he's going to be getting the opportunity here in 2019 and is going to be drafted a lot higher. So, without further ado, I think they say that in award shows, don't they, Kyle? I think. I don't know. Maybe. I just used it, so we're using it from now on. All right, the first ever winner of the hashtag Show Me the Money award goes to Gimme Chubb. It's Nick Chubb, running back, Cleveland Browns. And this one to me is almost, I don't know if it can get much easier of a pick. I mean, this guy was maybe thought about being drafted that, hey, if Carlos Hyde wasn't a thing at the beginning of the year, Nick Chubb could have been a solid producer all year long. The whole Hugh Jackson experiment, not wanting to use Baker, and Chubb wasn't used a whole lot, really limited him early in the season. But once Carlos Hyde got traded, Nick Chubb almost became a running back one overnight. Definitely somebody who, in 2019, depending on the coaching situation and who goes where, could be one of these guys that is all the way up into the second rounds of some fantasy football drafts.
In a lot of early mocks, I am seeing this guy land at the 11 and 12 spot in 12-team mock drafts. He's being considered really early second round, even late first round right now. And that's great for a guy who either maybe was a waiver wire pickup. I think the ultimate Nick Chubb truthers out there probably grabbed him in drafts just because, hey, we hate Carlos Hyde. We don't really think he's that great. And then maybe he was dropped and then Nick Chubb picked back up later on. But he is absolutely, in my mind, the guy who improved his stock over everybody. There was a lot of really good players like a James Conner. He could have been considered, but his draft stock was a little bit higher this year because of the Le'Veon Bell situation. That is why I said Nick Chubb was the winner here. I definitely think he's deserving, and we're looking at, for sure, in my opinion, especially if they keep Freddie Kitchens around, a running back one next year.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. All right. Hit us with the next one, Kyle.
So the next award. So everyone that watches Jake or Jake and myself, whatever it may be, knows this player well. Okay. And this player is up for the award, and I'm not going to say it just yet. We're going to say that it is the most inconsistent player award. I don't want to give away the hashtag just yet, but basically, when you're younger, okay, you might be a little promiscuous. Okay, you like to run, run around and enjoy life. Okay, but you have to be really careful because sometimes bad things can happen. Okay, so this is inconsistent because this player came and go all year, like a certain STD, the hashtag Fantasy Herpes Award. Because like herpes, he came and go. He would show up, then he would disappear. And you know what? When you get herpes, the process leading up to it might be fun for you, but the end result just isn't what you want. And that's why this player is going to win this award for the most inconsistent player this year.
I love it. This is going to be a staple of this show. All these other awards may change in the years. There will always be a winner, but there will only be one winner of the first annual hashtag Fantasy Herpes Award. Oh. And it's going to Amari Cooper, wide receiver, Dallas Cowboys. I think people know by now that I am not an Amari Cooper truther. I got some serious hate this year in the games where he totally exploded, and then I didn't hear anything from all the truthers in the weeks that he wasn't exploding. And it was really hit and miss. Yeah, when he first went to Dallas, it was looking great. And then the last few games of the season, it just got inconsistent again. And it's not all Amari's fault. I don't think I've ever said on video anywhere, on any channel, that he's just a horrible wide receiver, that he's not talented. He has the talent. He always has issues, whether it's Dak finding him getting the ball, whether it's Zeke getting the ball 35 times a game and just limiting the opportunities. Whatever it may be, there was always something that made him inconsistent, which is why this award fits so great.
Yeah, and I'm an Amari Cooper truther. Okay, I admit it. Again, if you've watched Jake and I do shows together previously, you know the back and forth that we've always had about Amari Cooper. But I also know that he is inconsistent, and even after his trade to Dallas this year, he was still slightly inconsistent. He had his huge games, and then he had some games that, yeah, that's great, but didn't really do it for you. So I do think he's going to be better next year. Give him a full off season with Dak. Give him a full off season in this offense. I'm in love with this Dallas Cowboys offense for next year. I mean, you know what I feel about Dak. You know what I feel about Cooper. You know what I feel about Zeke. So I'm excited to see how they develop and become even better than they are this year. Hopefully, Amari Cooper won't be up for this award though next year because he will be a little bit more consistent.
If he is, however, I will smile once again.
We'll give him this award back to back years.
If he must, he may deserve it. We'll have to find out. All right. So before we waste too much time on that guy, let's move into the next award, which is going to be hashtag Welcome Back Cotter, which is kind of like the version of the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year award. And to me, I cheated again, so I know who won that, and we wrote the show. So I mean, technically, we've known them forever. But it doesn't really matter. I think a lot of people will put two and two together. When you talk about a comeback player of the year, hands down, 100%, it's going to go to Andrew Luck, quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. He came out this year, and a lot of people were worried, including myself in the preseason, because there wasn't a whole lot of activity, leading up to the preseason games. He wasn't even throwing a full-size football yet. And it really, worried a lot of people, and he fell in a lot of drafts, maybe as a quarterback too for some people, later in leagues. And he really turned out to be, I can't say quite the Andrew Luck of old, because there are a few games in there where you could kind of see a little bit of fatigue or some issues. But as a season long, the guy absolutely killed it there, especially with that run he went on there middle of the season. What was it, 8 straight games with 3 touchdowns? Great year for Andrew Luck, and it's nice to have him back in there, getting the Colts to do great things.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, a few deep passes, you could tell that the arm strength wasn't quite there yet. But by the end of the season, it was back. I mean, this is, in my opinion, as we talk right now, the Andrew Luck of old. And honestly, I think he's even a little bit better now. I think he's had a chance to grow. I think having these injuries maybe gave him a chance to work on his mechanics a little bit more and really focus on that instead of just having to sling the football every Sunday. So, I mean, this is a guy that in my preseason rankings, I put him at QB6. He landed at QB5. I really liked him. I know that there was concern about the arm, but I said, you know what? I think this guy is ready to go this year, and he deserves Comeback Player of the Year in the National Football League as well. I think he deserves both awards.
Even though our award is more prestigious, yes, I agree. He does deserve the real Comeback Player of the Year award also.
By a smidge.
Just a skosh. All right, Kyle, hit him with the big boy. Let's end on a bang here. What's the last one here of our first ever award show?
The last one, the final award, you guessed it, the MVP award, the hashtag Dude Went Off award. And this goes to the fantasy football player that had the best season. I don't think we need to go any further. I don't think we need to introduce it anymore because we all probably know at this point who it is. Jake, please announce the winner.
The winner of the first ever hashtag Dude Went Off award goes to none other than Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, Kansas City Chiefs. And a lot of people may have thought maybe Gurley had a chance, and Gurley was in the running for this, but we haven't seen a season like this. Nobody was expecting 50 touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. The kid put up huge numbers. You got him on a value on draft day. Neither one of us we've talked about before are really high on drafting quarterbacks early. This guy totally fit the mold of somebody that you can get in the later rounds. He won't be that early in 2019. But it's definitely somebody deserving of this award. He carried a lot of teams to victory on a weekly basis, basically by himself.
There has only been one player in the history of football to put together more fantasy football points in a season, and that's LaDainian Tomlinson. This is the second highest scoring fantasy season ever in the history of football. So he absolutely deserves this award. I mean, for anybody who is a late round quarterback type of player, you got this guy, and you got him super late. And you had not only your QB1, but your number one overall fantasy football player of the season. So you could potentially say that he may have also been the blue light special for best late round value. But because people were excited about him, his draft day value was still a little bit inflated. But I think overall, just the best player of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you were lucky enough to take Gurley early and Mahomes late, more than likely we're congratulating you on a fantasy championship, because those guys probably combined for like 3 points shy of a buttload on us every single week. So, all right, so that was the first annual Fantasy Headliners hashtag awards. Try to have some fun with it. We're going to be doing this every year. Going to be a lot of fun trying to get some energy back into the fantasy football space. Too much monotoneness, too much boringness out there. We're here to have fun, but we really appreciate your support. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. If you're new here, welcome Kyle to the show. Kyle just joined us here this week, actually, but he'll be here all year long, hopefully for many years to come if he'll stay. He's got to wear the suit every year, though. But we greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Check out the other videos. We got the NFL playoffs right around the corner, and we're looking forward to it. Have a good rest of your week, and we will talk to you guys later.
Thank you.